What's up, Knife Tube? It's Diamond Castile, and you guys are going to learn something today. Alrighty, so what we're going to do, y'all probably seen the video of me, 90 seconds dull to sharp on this Sage 5. But this baby's in, deserves a proper edge. And, I was just talking to one of my followers in the comments, and he picked up a set of the these Nanowatt Basic stones that I did a video on, and he was telling me that he's never really tried because he doesn't know, what types of steels those abrasives are okay on. He was asking me, like, could you sharpen ZDP 189 on it? And of course, you can. It's alumina. It'll cut chromium carbide no problem whatsoever. Spyderco runs their ZDP 65-ish, 64, 66. I've tested a couple. They're in that range. So anyhow, I just wanted to show them, even a steel that has some vanadium carbide and is a fairly wear resistant stainless steel, like this King 300, will cut this no problem. And I'm not going to have carbide tear out issues. There's just not even though there's a decent bit of it in here, there's just not enough to really create problems. Like if this was S90V, that'd be a different story. You're going to have an overall poor performing edge if you just sharpen it on this. But here, the steel will respond beautifully to these stones. So what we're going to do, we're going to finish it on start on a King 300. This has, a little bit of convexity to the edge. There's a little problem back here, typical where Spyderco comes into the abrasive, just not very good. I'm not talking about the nub. I'm talking about how they dig in, and there's a low spot on both sides right here. So we're gonna sharpen that out and get a nice, perfectly formed edge on this S30V, and get this thing to perform how it can. This knife has had 2 edges on it. I actually know this will be the second edge. Yeah. Except for that, I'm not talking about that 90-second sharpening thing. I used up the factory edge. I put an edge on it, but it was just a quick edge. Didn't really want to waste a bunch of steel. I was using it out in the field, so I just put a quick 325 grit edge on it, and she went to work. But now we're going to put a proper edge on it, an edge that it deserves. All right, so like I said, we've got a King 300. This stone is definitely not 300 grit. They are more along the 450 range. They're definitely quite a bit finer than 300. That's just, it's how King rates their stones. It is what it is. Let's do it to it, peoples. All right. So, I'm going to show you a trick. A lot of people have a very hard time getting up against a plunge on Spyderco knives. It's very easy. There's no reason that you should have that problem. All you got to do is make sure that you're just turning the stones to keep your path comfortable. If you want to work like this, there you go. But for me, that's uncomfortable. So what I'll do, I'll turn my stone, and now I'm going to, basically keep my plunge at a 90-degree angle to the edge of the stone. That's that simple. You don't need sharpening tools on these knives. You don't need it. They catch, they're annoying, and you don't need it. Now, what we're going to do, I want a perfectly flat V bevel on this knife. There is some convexity to it. Slight bit, not much, but we're going to take that out of it. I'm going to have a fixed angled quality flat V bevel on this knife. A lot of people say you can't do that. You can't do that freehand. You can absolutely. It's a skill. It takes time to develop, but you can absolutely get a flat V bevel if once you have the skill to. We're 5 minutes in like normal. I talk too much. Aye. All right, so let's do it, guys. This knife is probably at around 17. I'm going to work this. I'm going to apply a little pressure right here at that low spot. And I'm going to work that spot to get that out first, because that's going to be the biggest pain in the ass. Now, one thing about these stones, don't be scared to use a little bit of pressure with them. Okay, let's check our work. You already have a burr. How's that plunge looking? Still a little bit right there at the... Okay, no problem. Actually, because I round this, I might not be able to get to that. Let me try using the actual edge of the stone. Now, if you do use the edge of your stone, doing what I'm doing, be very careful so you don't cut into your stone, because you can definitely do it. It's still there a little bit. No, that's going to annoy me. I got to get that out of there. All right, that got most of it. But we have a nice, pretty flat bevel. There's still a little bit you can see, but I'll get it out next sharpening. But that's a perfectly flat bevel. There's some convexity to it, but there's always going to be some convexity. It's impossible. Even if the best fixed angle there is still throws in some convexity. But that's flat. You can tell by how it throws light. That's a perfectly flat edge. That's what I want. We have a nice defined burr. How's the bevels? Pretty close in size. Yeah. Now I'm going to turn the stone, because I'm going to work like this. So I want that plunge 90 degrees to the stone. check that bevel length. Yeah, they're very close. Okay. We're going to flip that burr back. Now I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure right here to go ahead and start working that flow spot out. And this is actually a very, very good stone. You can pick these up for like under 30 bucks. And this really is a terrific stone. Okay, looking good. There's still a slight bit of convexity, but we've got the plunge good on this one, on this side. There's a slight bit of convexity, so we're going to continue to work that out. Tip looks good, bevel's consistent width. Like I said, don't be scared to use a little bit of pressure. Now that's looking really good. Got the plunge perfect. Got that low spot out. Still a teeny bit of the nub, but I'm not worried about that. Most importantly, you see it's still in a consistent, the light's not going off in any funky ways. That's telling us we have a perfectly flat edge, and that's what we want. So we're done with the 300. I'm telling you, if you have a lot of, more simple alloys, you ought to pick you up one of the 300s and 800s. These are fantastic stones. They really are. I love them. And the feel of them, there's something special about sharpening on these king stones. It's just the way they feel. It's super satisfying. And, you could pick up this big brick 800 and the 300 under 60 bucks if you look around. A lot of times on Amazon, you'll see them at 24, 25, 26 bucks a piece. And, they really are. They're extremely versatile stones. Do I like them better than I like my Shapton Glass or Kormakus? No. Or my Choceros? No. But I do very much enjoy sharpening on these, and I really love the edge finish they leave. Okay, we got a nice defined scratch pattern. Now we're going to be extremely careful to maintain a dead consistent angle so we don't throw in no convexity here. I'm feeling for that bevel to intersect with the stone, to lock against it. Right there. And now I'm going to maintain that angle with as much care as I can to not have any angle fluctuation. Taichung S30V has done extremely well. This stuff sharpens really, really good. Okay, let's see where we're at. Looking good. Okay. I am going to work this side a little bit more. That's looking very nice. Okay. Now we're going to line back up with that plunge. Get exactly on angle. Flip the bird. Again, being extremely cautious to maintain that angle as consistently as my hand can do. You know, if you know you're just learning sharpening, you're just learning freehand, don't worry about a little bit of convexity. It's no big deal. It's going to happen. It takes time to learn how to convex when you want and flat edge when flat V when you don't want. So like there's there's quite a long learning curve to be able to get a really flat V bevel. It's just it's not something that's easy to do, but anybody can do it. It just takes time. I'll say when you're trying for a very flat bevel, this is where setting your edge is very important. See, can I just, go like this and then pick angle, go and be close? Yeah, I could be probably half degree, 3/4 of a degree per side. But that's gonna be significant convexing. That's why you see me lay the edge down. I'm feeling for that flat, flat bevel to lock against this flat stone. You'll feel it. That tells me when I'm exactly on the angle of that bevel. Like I can feel it. It's right there. You'll feel it. Lock, lock, lock. That's so, don't get in a hurry. Feel where it intersects, and now you know that you're exactly at the same angle that bevel is set at. When there's a little bit of convexity, the bevel's not so distinct because it's kind of roundish, but you can still feel it. You just have to really you have to finesse it, and you'll be able to feel as it rolls over when the apex bumps the stone. You'll feel a difference in how it's moving. That tells you, hey, you're locked, you're where you want to be. Once you learn to be able to feel for where your angle is, you will be a better sharpener at that moment. Because you won't have to worry, am I on angle, or you think you're on angle and you're not. you'll be able to repeat your angle very precisely because you can feel it. Okay. Looking nice. All right. So now we're going to start working this burr. I can already see the burr becoming a little, maybe y'all can see that actually. I can already see the burr becoming a little flaky. Can you see it? It's that, look right there. You see that little line? You can somewhat see it, not very good. With the naked eye, if you have good vision, you can see it, no problem. That's that burr starting to become flaky, and I can feel, you know, it's broke off, and it's already broke off in a couple areas. So we're going to be exceptionally careful, exactly on angle. Edge trailing stroke. Flip that burr. Okay. What I'm doing right now, think of wiggling a piece of metal, you know, aluminum, for example. Think of moving it back and forth or steel. What happens? It weakens, gets fatigued, breaks. That's exactly what I'm doing to that burr. I'm flipping it back and forth. We're flipping it back and forth and fatiguing that metal. If you're working with good steel while you're doing this, be watching on your stone for pieces of it to break loose. You do not want to run your edge into a piece of hardened steel wire. While you're doing this, do not get in a hurry. Make sure your edge, your angle is perfect. Do not get in a hurry. Depending on the steel and how well it's done, it might break loose in 1 or 2 fatiguing passes. It might take 20 or 30. It's just like right now, we're probably pretty close to it. I don't see any. I do see one little piece right there. Right there's a piece. I'll show y'all. I see this. You really have to be careful, especially when you make an edge leading deburring pass. And I'm going to show you. Okay, you see, right? Where the hell's that? Okay, there's a piece right there. That's a little piece. There. There's a little piece. I've seen a couple more. There's a pretty good piece. That's like a almost an inch long piece of burr right there. Okay, so that right there is that fine wire breaking away. Keep in mind, guys, that's still hardened steel. So if I come back and I make an edge leading deburring pass, and I'm ramming that apex into a piece of hardened steel. You don't want that. So once you start doing those fatiguing passes, pieces of that burr are going to break loose. Go ahead and clean your stone. Now what I do, I take a magnet. Like you can see all the steel dust on it. But I just take a magnet and go like this over the stone, pick it right up. You're not gonna be able to see it, but you know, there's steel in there. That's just little fragments of steel. Now go check your stone. You can also go rinse it off under a sink. But yeah, I don't see any pieces right now, so we're good. Now let's take and make a couple alternating edge leading passes with lighter and lighter pressure. And I cannot stress to you how important right now is to make sure your angle is perfect. You can wreck this whole sharpening right now, literally with one pass. There's a piece of burr right there. That was a pretty good piece that's come off. Okay. Now, because this is good steel, it's done well, that's going to be a pretty much deburred edge. I can see it coming off. I can feel it coming off. You can even hear it to some extent. When bigger pieces break loose, you can hear it pop off. Okay, so straight off the stone. Very sharp, very aggressive. But I can feel a few little pieces of burr grabbing. Yep, I can feel a couple little pieces of burr grabbing. Here's where we're at finish wise. And a nice flat bevel. That's what's important. Nice sticky tip. We got it. You know, that 800 leaves a very dull matte-like finish. So we're just going to pop over here to some dry leather, no compound. We're going to go with, you know, adding or slightly above. There's no compound on this, so if you're over, it's fine. Make a couple pieces. That's going to remove any of that burr that's on there on this dry leather. If you got a denim strap that don't have compound on it, it's literally ideal for this. Okay. Now we should be pretty much deburred. Woo-wee, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Very sharp, lots of bite. Look how crisply it's cutting that paper. You see no ragged, no little fibers. Perfectly crisp. That tells you have a nice, keen, well-formed apex. There's good bite in that edge. I can feel the bite as it's pulling through the paper. Now, if we want to bring up the keenness a little bit, we have plenty of bite. S30V likes bite. We have plenty of it here. But we're going to bring up the keenness a little bit. Make it push cut a little nicer. We're going to be on angle. It's just some 0.25 CPM. Just make a couple passes. We don't want to make many because we don't want to polish off those micro serrations. But S30V is a steel that naturally has high bite. It has a lot of aggression. So, you know, if you run a fairly aggressive grit, then you're going to have a very aggressive edge, which is what we have here. Oh, yeah. Now, see, you can hear that aggression. It'll push cut. I'm not even moving the knife. I'm literally pulling the paper. But it'll push cut. But as you can clearly hear, there's a ton of bite. And that's exactly how I want this edge. Good keenness, very high aggression. You cannot have a better edge on S30V than this. That's it. And this is like the perfect finish, the perfect aggression. Nice flat V-bevel. Nice aggressive edge finish. Lots and lots of tooth. But yet very keen, very sticky. That's exactly what you want. Like you can't ask for a better S30V edge than that. So, all right, guys, I hope that, you know, I did this video to show, you know, that steels like this can be done on aluminum oxide abrasives. You just have to be cautious of the carbide content and the type of carbides, as well as how hard the steel matrix is. S30V, you know, this is going to be in the 60-61 range. You know, it's not absolutely chock full of super hard carbide. It does have some vanadium carbide, so there is some hard carbide in there, but it's not too extreme. You know, you're not going to want to sharpen 10V on aluminum, but you know. So for a work knife, the Sage 5 is a badass, and with an edge like this, it fits this knife beautifully. This knife was made to work. It's a great work knife model, and for a work knife, this is exactly the type of edge that you want on it. All right, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this. Hope it was relaxing. I don't know, listening to how these stones sound as you're making passes is extremely relaxing to me. So I don't know if that comes through on the microphone, but there's something about the way these king stones sound and feel. They really are special. All right. Old Bucky Ducky says bye. Cycloptopus says have a good night. And y'all take it easy.